Welcome to Creating Better Products, where we explore the real world stories from product leaders, not just their successes, but also their failures and their lessons learned. You will get practical tips that you can apply tomorrow. I'm your host, Sabrina Mach. I have almost 2 decades of experience and I love learning from others. This is why my mission is to share the stories of amazing product and design professionals with you and the world. And today I have a very special guest, Camila Ragazzi. Camilla is a legal expert with 10 years of experience specializing in contract management, privacy compliance, and the legal challenges of emerging technologies. And currently, Camilla, you're working at a company called Growins, a holding company that has different products. One is a SaaS company with a drag and drop email builder called Be3. Camilla, welcome to the show. I'm really excited to have you because today we're looking at legal compliance and how to make it fun or maybe not so painful. And I'm really excited to have someone who is maybe outside the normal product teams as we know them and getting your perspective from the legal profession into how we build better products. So thank you for joining us, Camilla.
Thank you, Sabrina, and welcome everyone. I'm very happy to be part of this podcast and in particular of this episode because, yes, I'm a legal and I have experience in negotiating contract and legal compliance, in particular in SaaS companies. But I'm not the usual legal nerd, so I also like technology and I'm passionate about technology. I try and dive deep in different new products. I like user testing, design, and so I try to put all together in my experience and day-to-day job. So I'm very happy to be here with you today.
Yes, thank you, Camilla. And I think it's really exciting because sometimes when we're building digital products, the compliance topic can be seen as, I don't know, the annoying topic, the thing that one has to do. It's not the thing that people are usually looking forward to as, building something new we're excited about. So I'm really curious to hear about your journey in working closer with product teams who create new things for customers. And I think what I'm really curious in the beginning is how did you actually get started in this? Because I feel it's still very unusual to have individuals like yourself who are so proactive in building bridges between yourself and the legal profession to the product creation. How did you get started in that? And what was your journey in making that successful?
Yeah, I think it's a nice story because my job is quite various in its day to day, and my main responsibility is about contract negotiating, templates, and so on. But also, we started to see more about the product, the need that the product is compliant since the beginning of its journey. So since it is conceived to when is sold to the clients. So we started this year with some friction, I would say, between legal and the product manager or developer team when they started to notice that maybe legal would have been involved in the process of the shape-up cycle. For example, while integrating artificial intelligence, it all started Christmas last year with GPT doing a lot of stuff for common people. So we were very excited, and all started to run very, very fast since the beginning of this year. And it was a competitive advantage to have AI into our products. So it started this fast run, but at the same time, someone asked, "Oh, but should I do something from the compliance side? Should I add something to my agreement to be sure that if I do some mistake, maybe I'm covered or something like that? Usual question that I think every product manager at a certain point ask in his life to him or herself. So that's when I came into the game of developing new features and assessing compliance on time and filling gaps of communication between different teams, very different teams, because we had
Yeah.
different way of thinking, different way of working, different day-to-day job. So we are very different.
And that sounds like an interesting challenge when we're trying to create a collaborative environment to bring that together. How did you manage to bring those different ways of working, perspectives, and expectations together? What was your role in that? And how did you collaborate with your technology and your product and your design counterparts in this?
Um, it was quite easy to start. It's just all about speaking clear and speaking loud about what we have to do, finding common goals, because we all have the same final objective, which is doing good products for our clients that works, that fill their needs, and compliance is part of that journey. So we understood that the goal was finally the same.
Nice. So finding common goals is what unifies that uh, cross-functional team then that you become in the end into a team that can collaborate well
Yeah,
together.
yeah, that's the first point for sure. So speaking and finding goals, common goals, but I think we are also lucky because we are a remote company, and we do this exercise of cultural transaction and finding connection every day, because we
Mm.
come from different countries, from different culture. We work, I think, most of our time. So I think it was something that naturally comes with this environment.
Yeah. And you mentioned that things kind of got triggered with the arrival of ChatGPT around a year ago. How were things before? I'm just curious. Did you feel a need for closer collaboration before as well? And it was just accelerated and amplified that now there was more proactive action. How was that working relationship before you managed to go into this intense collaboration?
I think before there was not the same needing for collaboration, and AI was an accelerator of that, because before it was more about usual privacy compliance stuff, and it's about 6 years that we deal with this kind of topic and issues. So how we process customer data, what we can do, what we can't, and what I have to do if I want to change something in my product. All these kind of steps were quite clear, but with the AI, everything changed, and we noticed that when something very new happens in technology, in particular in those last years, as a legal, we can't stay waiting. We can't wait until some regulation comes, or we can't wait for someone else to um, do things that we want to change after, because it has a cost. So we have to
Mhm.
cooperate since the beginning.
And that sounds really exciting because that seems to be a time when legal should be really integrated much more into that process. And it also creates that space where more of that conversation can happen, that maybe might otherwise would not happen when things seem a little bit more, I don't know, calm and settled, where you follow a process. And now where things are a little bit more turbulent, that intense collaboration seems like a must, but also like the space where it's really exciting for you to be in there working, I don't know, shoulder and shoulder with everyone else.
Yeah, and I have to say that as also a technology passionate, I really like to get more deeper into our products and how it works and what our clients do with our product and how they feel safe and how they trust us, and reporting that to our product manager and developer, because it's something that it's in common between us, no, what the clients want.
Yes, yes, totally. And I really like your focus that is so strongly looking at your customers, your clients' customers, and making sure that that something's created that creates value, but also something that is trusted. And I see that as one of your big roles is being a key part of building that trust by having all the important things in place.
Yeah, I think I agree on that also, because trust now is everything in a product. Also, we can think also about cybersecurity and all the certification that are are coming out as something that a company really has to put in place, like SOC 2 or ISO, because when you assess a vendor, you always ask them, are you GDPR compliant? And what are the security measures that you have in place for protect your service and my data running through your
Yes,
service?
yes. So I hear strongly that you understand the need for compliance to be part of that process. How did your technology and product counterparts feel about this? Was it hard for you to start building those bridges? Did they feel the need too for you to be involved early on?
Um, I would. I'm not sure about the speaking of their thoughts, but I think they understand, and working together increase that awareness. So it's
Mhm.
not just understanding that it is important or part of the process, even if it is somehow boring sometimes, because we have to spend time to assess what we are doing, at what we can do and how, because we don't want to say no as a legal team. We want to find solutions. That's important. And that was one of the attitude that I think that helped fill in the gap between cross-functional teams. So it's not just realizing that it is important, is feeling that I know that matter, and I know that I have to think about it, just find a solution and do what we have to do.
Yeah. And maybe that's also one of the perceptions. You mentioned yourself that compliance can be boring or it
Mm.
can be perceived as the, I don't know, the difficult part where people just say no because I don't know, they can or they don't want to be helpful. But actually I hear that you don't want to say no. You want to find a way together to see how can we make it work within the rules that are given, and find a solution that then works for the company and customers.
Yeah, we can't work on the rules because they're given, but we can work through the solution. That's the real thing. And yes, sometimes it takes times, especially at the beginning. But once you run the exercise several times, at a certain point you become an expert, and some solutions can be also standardized in your product life cycle, for example. And so, yes, at the beginning, it could be that legal slows things down a bit, but going through the process and working together will streamline the product management and the developers and new features, and you are always ready to follow your cycle and stay on the market. So being competitive.
Can you tell us a little bit more about your journey from a year ago when ChatGPT started to change things? What was that journey like for you, and getting more involved and working closer? How did that start? And then what does your day to day look like now? At what point do people bring you into the process?
I think it was an active part this time because we there were already rumors about the European regulation about artificial intelligence, so we started to think how to be prepared for that. And we started also to think where AI is in our company, and it's clear that it is in our product. As I said, it is a competitive advantage. So now people want to have an AI assistant for writing emails or summarizing emails or doing a lot of stuff. So it was clear that the product was one of the, let's say, affected part. This is very legal. So I started to speak with the product manager and to understand how is their process, and it is a common shape up cycle in 3 weeks sprint and one of rest. So I started to listen what they were doing, reading at pitches for new features, even if I didn't understand a lot of the content of those pitches, and I asked GPT to help me, which I like that because it was easier to understand things without bothering people. Can you explain me that? Can you explain me this? Which we don't have time to explain things to all of our colleagues. So I started like that, reading, listening, and trying to being involved in that process. And going through the years, I started also to chat with my colleagues at the and product managers. We use Slack, so it was quite easy to Slack them and asking about a specific feature, or asking if, in their opinion, could be legal implication when the feature would have been ready for the market. And we started to talk and increase awareness about that topic. And now I think we are ready to something more formal. So we are both involved in thinking that legal compliance is part of the process. So it may start from them to involve me, or it could start from me saying that, oh, I think that this feature need a legal assessment, or see if it has an impact on how we process data, or if we should add something into our agreement and stuff like that. That it's quite usual. And as I said, now the exercise was repeated for more than one cycle. So we are ready, and we know that this is running in the process.
Nice. So you're integrated into the product development process now, as an expert to share your, yeah, views and expertise where it is needed.
Yeah, and we also tried to minimize our impact on the product managers. Uh, I'm not sure if my colleagues thinks the same. I think yes, I will ask them. But we tried not to ask them for, I don't know, formal checklist or documents to compile and answer questions and a lot of stuff. We prefer to speak to each other and try to minimize the work that I have to do in order to involve you in this matter. So it's more direct, no?
And if you think back to how this process has gone and you're now integrated, what were some of your highlights and successes maybe along that journey? But also, what were some of the lowlights? Maybe things that went wrong or just things that were unexpectedly hard?
Oh, where should I start?
Up to you. We can start with the good or the bad.
Okay, let's go with the bad. I
Okay.
think,
I think that's the one we're always excited about because it's, the unexpected things and the guardrails that we can take away for our own practice. So I'm really excited about
really, about
the
the bad.
about the hard things.
Okay, no. The hard thing is miscommunication, I think. The hardest thing is miscommunication because it's quite easy to misunderstood what other people says or what are their expectation, which are their goals. It's very, very easy that some miscommunication happens when you're trying to communicate with someone. So that was the starting point, a general attitude of miscommunication because we didn't speak to each other. And also, when we started to communicate, sometimes it happens that we don't understand each other. And I also remember, I think it was a late afternoon on Thursday, on Friday. So at the end of my working week, and also for my colleagues, that I think she was very upset about one of my message about a new feature that she was developing, and we started chatting on Slack, and it ended up as a mess. I was very, I don't know, frustrated at the end of the afternoon. But the nice thing is that early in the morning next day, both of us wrote a Slack message. Oh, I'm sorry for yesterday. Maybe we didn't communicate in the right way. So miscommunication is the common failure when you are trying to build bridges between two people, two team, two or more people or teams. So yeah, that's the bad, I think. But I'm not sure it's something new. I'm quite sure that if every one of us look into that and think how many times my colleagues could misunderstand what I'm saying or what I need from them or what I need to do my job from them.
Yeah. And often we speak a different language and have different terminology, maybe saying the same thing in different words, but then that creates that friction. How did you manage to navigate that challenge in communication?
Trying and trying. And also make it loud when you think that someone spoke to you in the wrong way, but also when it was clear and it was the right way. So yes, this way is working. We can understand each other. No, that way it's not working. Let's change something, try something different, or start again from the beginning. I haven't understood anything. Let's start
Yeah.
again. So that's it, I think. Trying and trying.
Yeah, trying and trying. And what I heard as well was trying to bring clarity and being clear on expectations around what we see works and doesn't work, and then consciously adapting together.
Yeah. Yeah, and I also know that some teams perform some kind of retrospective sessions where they try to find clarity, speaking loud what went good and what went wrong. So also this one could be a good exercise to solve some miscommunication problems in general.
Were there any other things that were hard or went wrong as part of that process?
At the beginning, there was another main problem that was um, late stage involvement of the legal team, but it went from the fact that legal was not seen as part of the process of the development of new features.
Yeah.
So that's why we work together through this. But in general, late stage involvement when we are working among cross-functional team, I think could be a big issue, because if you arrive to the other team too late in your process, I think it's also normal that the other team says, "Oh, but I have stuff to do. So I have planned a lot of things and I'm going through a lot of things. So you would have come to me a lot before." And this creates some friction for sure. So also for this issue is trying and trying. If we fail one time, just let me know how much time before I have to involve you. So be transparent on your workload, on your timing, and how much time an activity could take. So once I have clarity on that, I can involve you at the right stage of my process. So we are aligned in the goals and on the deadline.
This example resonates strongly with me because that's also the situations I've seen where often legal gets involved late, and that's when the friction happens because you or colleagues should have been involved earlier on in that process, and then it would have been much easier to co-create a solution and find a way without the rush of a deadline where maybe you're bound by certain processes that you have to follow,
Yeah,
and that also needs lead time. Not just that the product team needs lead time, but you also have lead time that and other work to juggle. So that's, I think, the typical situation that I've seen is when friction happens is because of that late involvement, where one thinks, oh, we just quickly ask Camilla, I'm sure she says it's fine, and not actually planning in time that we might have to find a way to make this work. It's not just a tick box exercise, but something
yeah,
where you need to collaborate to make something that works well for customers and the company.
yeah, yeah. And building some process from zero, it always starts from late stage involvement and miscommunication. So we can go to the highlights and the positive aspect, because if we start from the low, we try to build something that bring us to success and being happy in our work, because I think it's also part of working together, being happy, of working with other people and other teams. So I think that the major success of this year is having in place a process that now works. Yes, we can always improve something, I know, but now it works. Before, it wasn't even conceived. So that's a big difference. And what I learned instead, and what is a positive impact on my life, is being more proactive, in being engaged in things that before I thought it wasn't mine in some way.
Mhm.
By being involved in that process, I also feel part of the process. So
Yeah.
this makes me to be more proactive in general with my colleagues, and more happy to cooperate and create something together.
It sounds like the working environment that we all enjoy working in. And by being part of the process, actually, it enables us to be proactive because we understand how things work or when things fall behind or what questions to ask. So building those bridges, that common understanding, maybe over time also that common language, all that makes it easier to be proactive and to stay involved in that process.
Yeah, and I think it matches with the title of the today episode, right? Because if it's something where we feel good staying in a process that it's working, uh, it's not painful. Maybe it is still boring sometimes, but it's not painful. So, because we are working together and the people who you are working with have this positive attitude that we are working together with the same goal and same expectation and what we have said in the past minutes.
That's true. My designer's brain thinks that maybe legal isn't boring. It's a constraint that we need to consider in our design process, and sometimes constraints can also help us to come up with new innovation that we wouldn't have come up with. So maybe throwing a little bit of those things into the mix can also have a positive impact on how we create our products in a better way. But yeah, that's my optimistic designer's mindset coming in here. Um, I'm really wondering what were maybe some barriers in the process that you've encountered while making it more collaborative, but also what were some things that helped to accelerate that collaboration?
Starting always with the bad, so the barriers. I would say working in silos, because if every one of us just work its own task from morning to afternoon and we never speak, it's natural that there is lack of communication and there are no bridges between us. But if we work together, speaking is an accelerator. So always try to communicate and speaking loud about the needs again. And also another barrier could be the product team fearing a lack of accountability from the legal team. The fact that maybe they could think that we only see risks and things that shouldn't be done, or I don't know, possible breaches in the product or whatever. But on the other side, an accelerator could be building in your colleagues the opposite idea, so that legal does not lack accountability. Legal, it's true, see risks and know that something can go wrong, but we have to find a solution to make things safe and possible at the same time. So finding a balance between um, between what the product have in their mind and what we are bringing to the market. No, something in the middle is the truth.
And how do you, or how did you personally? So that's my question, actually. So, how did you personally manage to help create this mindset shift in your colleagues in product to help see the positive side of legal? How did you bring them along on that journey? How did you help them to understand a little bit more about the legal perspectives that you're bringing into the product development?
On one side, taking responsibility of the deadlines, you have to do things on time, and on the other side, the training. So we had during the year little training sessions during larger business meetings that we have bi-weekly, and uh, small legal pills are usually more manageable than longer session like 1 hour of legal training about compliance or privacy or altogether AI, etc. So I think that this is another aspect of being proactive. So put yourself in the middle, and you should show up with other people and not always staying in the background, because legal usually have this kind of mindset. I work in my office, in my chair, and I always stay behind the scenes. But this is not the case. If you jump in the middle of the crowd and say, yes, I can do something for you, I can train you with something new for a short moment, I think it can work.
Yeah, nice. Super interesting. So you've been on this journey for the past year, and it sounds like a positive process now, how you're working together. Um, Maybe stepping back a bit, I'm just wondering um, how. I think my question is the process generally seen as better now by colleagues, but also does it bring the positive impact for the company? Is this something that you have a way of measuring or assessing? How would we know that things are better now than before? That's a very long question, but I guess like the process is different now. Yay, great. It feels good. Yes. And all those things are super important. And then thinking back to the end customers that you've mentioned also so many times, how does it make it better for them? Is it better now for them that now that you're in that process earlier, does it help create better products for them than before?
I think yes, because we started very early to think about this AI matter, and privacy. As I said, it was already an exercise, so it was integrated, and it was okay, and it is still okay. Security is something you have always to work on, because it's improving and running fast, I think, as it's running AI. So, as AI was an accelerator, I would say yes, because now that regulation has come into force and is going to come into force in the next months, we are ready. So we can say that our products are compliant, and we use our best effort to ensure that is always staying compliant. So it's a
Yeah.
continuous process, but I think it's better because we don't have to do any retrospective when something goes wrong and we catch it later, because we start from the beginning. So
Yes.
that's the answer.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for my slightly weirdly shaped question, but I think this is really, really interesting. So, because you're proactive, you're thinking ahead, you're always compliant when things are coming in. You don't have to do things retrospectively, where maybe parts of the product aren't compliant, but also things aren't blocked that are currently in the process from being released to customers to create value because they were already being developed with compliance in mind, being proactive and thinking about where things are moving so that when they're ready in the right way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. So then my question is, what stops other companies from creating that collaborative approach between legal, product and tech if there is so many benefits?
Maybe because it involves cultural change. So people, as I said, stepping in the middle and put in the game of reshaping process and relationship between different teams that maybe in the past you didn't think about. So I think the fact that you need cultural change of mindset.
And what would have to change specifically in that culture?
It depends from what side you see the thing. If you see from the legal side, I can say a lot of things. For example, legal in general need to open their mind and being open to new solutions and find solutions and balancing benefits and risks and rely to other people and other teams in finding solutions that are a good balance between benefit and risks, and also as for legal is becoming an expert in something that it's not in your comfort zone. So the product, the pitch, the way of working, like the shape up cycle or whatever other process a company might have for shaping their product. So this is a big cultural change for legal people. Instead, from the product and engineering personas, I would expect to uh, increase awareness about compliance and the fact that it is needed because we have those regulation and we have to follow regulation and be sure that our products are compliant with the law. So by increasing awareness, I think it comes naturally that you catch up with legal, even if sometimes they're boring.
Nice. So these are really great tips because I think you mentioned around what people in the legal profession can do to have that mindset shift, and in that way, actually, you're providing us with actionable tips around if I'm in a legal department today, how could I bring this mindset into my organization? How could I start building those bridges? And it would be by having that open mind, for example, that you've mentioned around the product developer process, but then equally for product professionals, engineering professionals, could help them to build the bridge from their side of the organization towards the legal department. So I think that's really nice to make it actionable. Is there anything else that those people should keep in mind when they think about how can I get started with integrating legal into the development process? Is there anything else they should keep in mind?
If you want to be practical, we can say that starting building bridges between different teams, I think it all starts with check-in and staying together. So just take a moment to connect and share ideas and project that you are developing. Even if you're not in the product or development team, there are a lot of teams that have or could have a connection with the legal team. So connect to each other and in general promote cross-functional training. So if I'm not from the legal, I have to learn something that could be relevant for me from the legal team, but the legal team can learn something from the product, but in general by using technology. So as I said, I used ChatGPT to get insight from documents that were not speaking my language. So why don't using technology for for having a positive impact in your daily work. And it's not about ChatGPT, only about ChatGPT. We have different technologies that we can use day to day at work. And I don't know if I mentioned that, but I used to do user testing, and I'm not suggesting every legal to take user testing, but it's a good exercise to get into the product mindset or design mindset, because you try a product and you see how they think from the questions they put to you when you are using a product, and you can see how something is improved only by your feedback.
Yeah.
So
So you were a participant in user testing, trying out products, sharing feedback, and that was a way to kind of understand a little bit more about the process and the kind of feedback that is sought.
yeah, definitely. And in general, for products that were shaped for legal, that was the main focus, but sometimes also other kind of platform and technologies in general.
Yes. So, Camilla, you shared so much wonderful stories and a wealth of expertise from your side. I wonder, condensing things into a few principles, what were some principles that helped you to be successful in building those bridges and being part of the development process? And yeah, what are those principles that others could apply in their context?
Um, I think we have already mentioned those during our conversation, but I would say speaking clear and setting expectation, obviously. Speaking clear because it is a kind of work in public where everyone can see what are you doing, what you need, etc. What is the process? Who are the people involved in that process? And setting expectation because um, it's the common point where we are going to. So we build a bridge and we go together in one direction. So it's quite easy to build something when we have the same final goal.
Wonderful. Really, really exciting. Thank you for summarizing those principles for us. And my final question before we go, I like to link things back to the title of this podcast, which is Creating Better Products. Why is what we talked about today, bringing legal into the process of developing products early, why is that so important when we want to create better products?
First, I would say efficiency. We can the hardest cost of inefficient retrospective analysis when we have already done things. It's always not easy to restart and see what we have done, how we have done that, or these, etc. And also, I already mentioned that is building trust in your clients, because if you have a good product, clients will be your best advocate.
Yes, definitely yes to that. Thank you, Camilla. Thank you so much for sharing your experience. Before we go, what are three books or articles or podcasts that have inspired you and that you think maybe our listeners would enjoy too?
Okay, I will come back to my legal comfort zone. Sorry for that. But I always listen to a podcast that is called Technically Legal, and they speak about law and technology and how they are connected together. So definitely in line of what we have speak about today. So maybe it's good to listen about one or two episodes. You can choose. They speak about crypto to legal platform to GPT. So there are a bunch of different topics that they go through. I think weekly. It is weekly. And another thing that I like, maybe you have already understood that, is collaboration between people. So I read a book about smarter collaboration and a new approach of breaking down barriers and transforming work by Heidi Gardner, who teach in the Harvard Law Business School. And I think it's a very clear book, even if I think it has already 2 years. It is 2 years old, that book. So maybe there's something more new. But there are some highlights and pitfalls about how to better collaborate with different teams. And last, this is a very legal nerd. It's all about legal design. There are different interesting articles on Cambridge University Press where researchers try to explore the idea of legal design applied to create a better products, services, and content, especially when they have to deal with legal or with citizen, for example, public administration or government website and application. They all go around this new concept of legal design, making things simple for the user, even if we are in the legal zone.
That sounds really great. Those crossovers between design and legal and other practices is so interesting. And making things simple, especially from the legal side, I think is so important. So thank you for sharing those. It's been really, really inspiring to hear. And because compliance is always seen as that bad word that you have to do as part of things. That's maybe one of the misconceptions that's out there. And talking to you has been really inspiring to see actually it's not like that at all. It's about collaboration. It's about serving customers together, and I think that's been really inspiring for me to also hear from you, because I know that's how I feel, and understanding that actually many other people in the organization feel the same way is really inspiring. And then having that common goal, that's when we can create great things together. So thank you so much, Camilla, for joining us today.
Thank you for this opportunity. It was really, really nice to talk with you today.
Thank you, Camilla. And now a question to our listeners. What is your experience with compliance, and how have you been able to collaborate closer with your legal team? What were your successes? What were your setbacks? I would love to hear from your experience. Please share it in the comments or reach out to me directly. And finally, if you enjoyed this episode as much as I did, please share it with your network and give us a like and subscribe in your favorite streaming platform. And by doing this, you elevate the voice of our amazing guests. And today that was Camilla. Thank you and see you next time.